So for the longest time, I have wanted to do my task management inside Notion where I run the rest of my business, but I have been plagued by a pernicious issue that until today, I couldn't seem to figure out. And that is the issue of recurring tasks. How do you do them? How do you say, I wanna do a task today and I want it to come right back around into my task manager next week? Well, over the past week or so, I've been figuring out a method for doing that, and in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to do it and also share a template so you can use it in your own Notion workspace. So let's just jump right into it. Here we have a recurring tasks template. You will find a link in the description for copying this and playing around with it. In this video, I'm going to explain it to you, show you how it kind of works under the hood. The main limitation that we're gonna run into here is that we cannot change the state of, say, a due column, a date column, based on what happens to something like a checkbox column. So unfortunately, what we can't do here is check done and then have it come around later. So what we have here is a task table that has both recurring and one-time tasks. So when I've got things listed as one time, what I can do to check those off is simply check them off. But with recurring ones, checking them off isn't really gonna do anything except for change the sort order because I need to do them again at some point. So instead what we have is first, a due column that tells us when the due date is. And then we also have a next due column. So this is showing us when the next time we should do it is based on a recur interval. So this is just a number of days that you wanna wait until the task is due again. And all you do to check it off is look at that next due date right here, and then move over to due and set it to that next due date. And bam. Your next due date will automatically update itself based on your interval. And there's some logic in here to make sure that even if you are overdue by a certain amount of days, it is going to move forward the number of days that you would want. There is a very, very, very complex formula that took me the better part of a day to code to make sure this actually works. If you're really curious about it, there is the formula in both a condensed version and an extended version in the template, so you can take a look at it. But essentially, this solves the problem that I had in my head, which was if we're overdue by, say, 5 days on a monthly task, well, if that task was set for the first of the month every single month and we check it off on the 5th of the month, without this logic, it would get set to the 5th of next month. But we want it to stay on the 1st of the month. So this logic essentially says, hey, as long as we're not really, really, really overdue, we're just gonna go forward by the interval. There's a lot of code in there that checks that out. So that's essentially how you do this. And with an unfiltered view, you're just gonna get a series of moving dates here, which isn't really what we want, but you can combine this with the filtering mechanisms to get a really useful view. So here is our main view that shows all tasks no matter what. And if we look at the filter criteria here, all we're showing is tasks that are assigned to me, which in this case is every task. And we are sorting by first the done criteria being checked off and then their due date in ascending order. Let's go ahead and check this one back to its unchecked state so we can go over to this other view that I've created here. So this one is a little bit more useful. Instead of showing everything, if you go to the filtering here, first we got the same sort criteria, except we're not even going to show ones that are checked off for one-time tasks. And then we have a nice little set of filters that shows anything assigned to me where the due date is on or before a week from now. So this is essentially anything that is due a week from now and including anything due today and overdue tasks. And then we have a nice little nested group of filters here that show us all of our recurring tasks, but they also show us all of our one-time tasks that have not yet been checked off. So the upshot of this is when you have a one-time task, you can check that right off and it's going to simply go away. And then with our recurring tasks, if I update the due date to a date that is outside of our filter criteria, then it's not going to show either. So with this task, we are actually overdue by a week here. So let me go ahead and update it to today. And now the next due date is going to be 1 week from now. Well, we know we're a week out, so I would see that. Let's go ahead and update this to 14 days just to show you what would happen if I go ahead and update this to October 26th. Go ahead and do that, and it is gone. So with the combination of checking done on your one-time tasks and then moving your due date based on this next due column with your recurring tasks, you can get a task management list that works really well for basically anything that you have to do. To make it just a little bit easier to see at a glance what's overdue, what's due today, and what's planned, let's go back over to this all tasks view here. We've got these little colors in this column called state. So this is another formula, and I can open up this toggle so you can see it a little bit more clearly. This basically shows a red circle if it's overdue, a green circle if it is due today, a blue circle if it is planned, or a white circle if it has no due date whatsoever. So I just built this into the system so that I could see every day at a glance, hey, what's overdue in my system, what's due today, and what's coming up in the near future. And if you wanted to, you could make these blue circles split out into maybe purple ones for coming up in the next week, blue for far out in the future, whatever it is that you want to do. So like I said, the template link for this is in the description if you just want to duplicate and play with it. But on this channel, I really want to help you understand these systems. I think this is crucial because when you have actual practice with the systems, you're going to start to be able to combine Notion's tools in new and innovative ways. I actually view Notion as almost a programming language with more graphical elements than most programming languages. There's a lot of code in there too. And if you can understand how to use these functions in different ways, you're going to be able to solve lots of different problems. So let's go ahead and build this essentially from scratch here. If we have a brand new table here, first we're going to name our main row tasks. So we're going to have our task names there. We're going to create a select criteria with the properties one time and recurring. Then we're going to do a due date. We're going to have an assignee column, person. We're going to have a recur interval. That's going to just be a simple number. And then we have our two formula columns. The first one being next due date, and then we have state. Okay, so these are all of the columns that we're going to need for this task management system. I'm now just going to put them in the order in which I want them. I just realized I forgot the most important one, which is our done checkbox. We're not using that for any crazy formulas, but hey, what good is a task manager without a fancy checkbox? So we're gonna move that, move this, and let's just create a recurring task example and a one-off task example. Set our tags correctly for each of these. We're gonna set a due date. So let's just go ahead and set it today for both of them. Set it to me because I get all the tasks, at least in this example. And then for a recurring one, let's set a recur interval of say 7 days. So from here, I'm not going to type out the exact formula because that would be a little bit crazy for a YouTube video. If you want to check it out, if you want to study in the template, feel free, go ahead, go nuts, learn how to use the formulas. I think that's a really powerful part of Notion. But for now, we are just gonna copy and paste, the ultimate secret weapon of basically every programmer in the world. So for our next do, we'll go ahead and edit the formula, paste that in, back to formula, as Dr. Osborne's underlings would say, and then we're gonna grab the compressed version of our state formula as well. Head on over into here, paste that in, bada bing, bada boom. We have ourselves a recurring task manager that can also elegantly handle one-time tasks. The only thing you want to do from here is create your filters. So we can do that real quick. We'll do assignee equals me. We had due is on or before 1 week from now. So we're getting a week out, but we're also seeing anything potentially overdue. Then we're going to create a filter group where the type is either recurring or another filter group here. The type is one time and the done property is not checked. And there we go, there's our filter group. So we've got 1 week out. So if I go ahead and move this to now, it's there. If I go ahead and move it to the 26th, it's gone. If I go ahead and check this off, it's gone. So that is how you get recurring tasks in a task manager within Notion. Again, I'm gonna have the template link for this in the description down below, so check that out. And if you enjoyed this tutorial and you wanna see more just like it, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, help me launch this brand new channel. And if you want a written version of this tutorial, you can go over to thomasjfrank.com/Notion or find the other link in the description below. I'll have a written up version, and I'm also going to be linking to all of my templates. I've got a note-taking system, a video management system. I've got a course that I'm working on, so you can sign up to get updates about that. And last but not least, there are several other great Notion creators here on YouTube and all over the internet, and a lot of them have their own takes on recurring tasks. So I'm gonna link to a few of them in the article version of this video. Check them out, go follow them as well. I know Danny Hatcher has one, Marie Poulin has one. So check everyone out that's got their own recurring tasks, and I will see you in the next tutorial.